Shantae. This is a game that made an impact. And let me put it plainly. This game came out in 2002 on the Gameboy Color and was also playable on the Game Boy Advance. Now, when I say this made an impact, when it came out, it was at the tail end of the Game Boy Color's time, which meant it shouldn't have made the impact that it did. And this has to be said. I think it has to be said that it's its own quirky humor. It's somewhat double entendres. A female protagonist who is equal parts. Well, she's naive in certain things. And with their naming conventions that they use for some of the characters, you cannot, get away from it. Now, this is a game that fits in the genre of the Metroidvanias, and it's beautifully well designed. You will notice, I think, in some cases, you do have a predominantly female cast. Now, Shantae is a half genie, and she is the protector of Sequinland. In fact, it opens with with Tinkerbats attacking the main town of the capital of Sequinland. Now, this also runs with the theme that Shantae is supposed to be a genie and some, I believe, Arabic lore. So she comes in fighting the Tinkerbells with her main weapon, her hair. Honestly, I think she gives herself whiplash doing this. But, she's fighting off these Tinkerbats. And eventually we run into the person who is in charge of the Tinkerbats. The Lady Pirate Risky Boots. And while she's dressed as a pirate, they definitely run with the female theme. Her and the Arabic theme. Hell, her outfit looks like a bit of a skull. Now, as you run through, and after defeating her, you find out she's made off with an invention by Mimic called a steam engine. Now, it's only a small version, but Risky is seeking out 4 mystical stones. I think they're called dribble stone, the sizzle stone, the simmer stone, and the Gollum stone, I think. I could be wrong on those stone names. I didn't commit them to memory. But they're all magical. So, Shantae must run around the land, finding the four labyrinths that hold these stones, and, quote, get them before Risky can. And she actually does beat Risky to all of them in some way or another. I mean, Risky gets close to claiming it, but always something goes wrong, like the Labyrinth Guardian shows up. Now, of course, Shantae must go about from the various land to various towns in the land where she'll find someone who can help her. I mean, in Watertown, you run across Bolo. Well, he's a bit of a tinkerer. He's not necessarily the brightest. And he already told Risky where to find it. Of course, once Shantae gets in and Risky's already there and hunting the place for it. Now, also in each of these labyrinths, you will find a captured genie, which can teach Shantae one of the dances that allows her to become different animal forms, which has their own set of skills. Uh, in the first dungeon, in the first labyrinth, you get the monkey. You learn the monkey dance, and the monkey can actually climb some walls and get through some narrow passages with relative ease. So he's the monkey's very, very useful. In the second dungeon, which you can reach after going to Oasis Town and getting information from Sky and her hawk, Wrench. You can enter that place. I think that's the Gollum Mine or something. And the genie in there teaches Shantae the dance to become an elephant, which can literally ram into things and destroy certain obstacles, like certain blocks, revealing secret passages to another area or shortcuts. The third dungeon, you have to get information from Roddy Tops, which she's in the only moving area, at least once you find it for the first time, and that's the zombie caravan. Yeah, Roddy challenges you to a dance and all that. And she lets you into the third labyrinth where you find your third genie who teaches you the dance to become a spider. Yep, you can become a spider, which helps you crawl in certain areas and access other areas. Now, eventually, you will get to an area known as Bandit Town where you will find the fourth person who can help you, which is apparently a nameless guardian genie. But there seems to be something odd about her. She lets you in the last dungeon, also suggesting that maybe you should cut the hair. Ain't that suspicious? And then there is another genie who will teach you the dance to become a harpy, which can fly around areas. Now, of course, while you're in the course of doing all this stuff, you're seeking out heart containers to increase your health. You are searching for fireflies. In fact, once you find all 12 fireflies and take them to the firefly shrine, you get a dance that will actually, for the price of 10 gems, you can gain another heart of health. Kind of nice, if you ask me. Now, you also gain things that will allow your animal forms to be able to attack and damage opponents, which is a good thing. I mean, while you're in animal form, until you get these things, you can't really attack anyone. And you're also in all the dungeons and that, seeking these little baby warp squids. There's about a total of 20 of them. And taking 4 to each warp squid temple in an area will actually allow you to warp to that town with ease just by doing a dance. There is also in the game, if you were to put it into a Game Boy Advance, you would unlock a special ability, a dance that will turn Shantae into a Tinkerbat. Which has the benefits of 2 of those forms that you could transform into. And then you'd be able to, get 2, you know, attack and jump, climb, I think. I forget which 2 forms it adds on to. It costs 500 gems to get, and you must have this cartridge in a Game Boy Advance or have a signal that's in a Game Boy Advance to unlock it. Which really does add to the searching of areas and all that. This game also allows you multiple lives, a feature that is removed in later entries in the franchise. Now, to get back to the main quest, once you get the last stone in that last labyrinth, you have had no sign of Risky Boots, which means you've definitely beaten her to the punch here. And when you come out, the genie reveals herself to actually be Risky Boots. Which means now we have to. She's got the jump on us. She takes all the stones. So Shantae now has to, quote, Shantae breaks free, finds out that there may be a place to locate them called the Spy Scope. Or the Sky Scope. Of course, you have to get to it, which thankfully you can in your harpy form, because it's up in the sky in the desert, one of the deserts. Now, once you find it, I guess you awaken some sort of mystical spirit who will take you to the location, and then you really get into the end game. You're working your way through Risky's lair. When you finally catch up to them, they gain, well, Risky drops you into an area where you have to fight the Tinker Tank. This is a giant tank-like device that looks like a Tinkerbat. And you have to get inside it, free, you know, destroy certain parts of the Tinker Tank that will also expose the stones, and then destroy the stones. And once you're done with that, you fight Risky for the last time, at least in this game. And if you are successful, uh, you end up. And she's got a barrage of more attacks, more dangerous attacks. But once you defeat her, the genies sort of summon Shantae to the realm where all the genies are now, offering her a chance to remain there and be a full genie. Which Shantae refuses, then reveals the fact that she is a half genie to all the citizens, even the mayor. Mayor doesn't give a damn. He's like, hey, you do your job. That's all that matters. Of course, since you're half genie, does that mean I get you a half price? The mayor of the Sequin Land capital is not the wisest in the world. But what this all made was for a great game. A great game that gained a cult following. You hear of Shantae. You know of Shantae. You must now basically defeat. I mean, she became an icon. And there are 5 games in this franchise, so I'm going to be playing them all. Who knows? Maybe by the time I get to number 5, number 6 will also be out, which is actually set between which, from what I've heard, is going to be set between 2 and 3. Or is it 1 and 2? No, it'd be 1 and 2, I think. And this is to say something. For a game that came out on a console whose time was ending, Shantae had staying power. She's like a cult favorite. A cute genie, which should, make sense. We're always fascinated by genies. It plays on some of the more exotic things that we associate with the Arabian culture. I mean, dressing in in the lacy outfits. That's the stereotype I'm talking about. Getting to the point where I mean, the dancing. And I think part of it was also just Shantae's innocence of it all. Which, that you see some of that a little bit more in later entries. And there's mini games in the first game that are to like build up some gems. You could either have like a little dice battle, you know, roll the die, get a higher number than the other person, you score a point, adding to your gem total, or even a dance contest in a dance parlor. So they definitely run with some of those themes that we see in the Arabic uh, stereotypes that we have seen over our lifetimes. But it makes for a fun little game. Also, the predominant female cast in the game in the franchise. I mean, most of Shantae's friends and a good portion of the stronger, long-lasting enemies are more female than anything else. And Shantae makes a very good female protagonist. I mean, she's got the cuteness factor, she's got the naivete that is perfect for a character of that. She's supposed to be like 18 in the 16 or 18, and she can be quite clueless about certain things. It's cute in a way. And I swear the female foes in the game are tougher than the male foes. Shantae is a good game. It's understandable why it became such a cult classic for a franchise that was, in its tail end of its life cycle. I mean, I had to pay it. I had to play it on a Game Boy emulator. It was the only way I could find it. And to think, since the game came out in 2002, 5 games have been made. A sixth one's in the work. Well, total 5 games, a sixth one in the works. So people love the Half Genie Hero. But that's all I'm going to say about Shantae. I mean, definitely one to find a Game Boy emulator and play. The save states were a help. I probably would have been maybe had a little bit of frustration playing it on the Game Boy Color. But it's definitely one you want to play. And like I said, that's all I'm going to say about Shantae. I hope you've enjoyed me talking about the game. And like I said, get it for yourself, download it, play it. It's fun. You can understand why people like it, or if you can find it in a way, like if it's part of one of these Shantae bundles or something like that, get it if you can. Like I say, it's a good game. Thank you for listening if you have, and until next time, I want you to take care and have fun. Bye.